You know that feeling when someone walks into the room and suddenly your chest tightens, your energy drains, and you can't explain why? Or when you're scrolling through social media and you literally feel the anxiety, anger, and pain of strangers as if it's your own. Here's what nobody tells you. You're not crazy, you're not broken, and you're definitely not alone. You're an empath. And if you don't learn to set boundaries, the world will consume you piece by piece until there's nothing left. So let me ask you something. How many times today have you put someone else's feelings before your own? How many times this week have you said yes when every fiber of your being was screaming no? Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could literally save your life. Let's start with the truth that most people don't want to hear. Being an empath isn't some magical superpower that makes you a better person. It's not a badge of honor that proves you're more spiritual or enlightened than everyone else. It's a real, documented trait where your nervous system is wired differently. Your mirror neurons are on overdrive. You literally absorb the emotional states of people around you like a sponge soaks up water. And just like that sponge, if you don't wring yourself out regularly, you'll become heavy, moldy, and completely useless. The biggest lie we've been sold is that boundaries are selfish. Protecting your energy can make you feel cold, distant, or uncaring. That if you really loved people, you'd sacrifice yourself completely. This is absolute garbage, and it's killing empaths everywhere. Think about it. When you're on an airplane, what do they tell you about the oxygen masks? Put yours on first before helping others. Why? Because a dead person can't save anyone. The same principle applies here. A depleted empath with no boundaries isn't helping anyone. You're just suffering alongside them, and now two people are drowning instead of one. Here's what happened to me before I figured this out. I had a friend who would call me at 2 in the morning every single night with the same problems. Relationship drama, work stress, family issues. And every single night, I would answer. I would listen. I would absorb all of that pain and anxiety. I would give advice that was never taken. I would offer solutions that were never implemented. And then I would lie awake for hours afterward, my heart racing, my mind spinning, feeling all of her emotions as if they were my own. Meanwhile, she would thank me, hang up, and probably sleep like a baby. I, on the other hand, would show up to my own life the next day completely exhausted, irritable, and unable to function. I was giving away my energy to someone who wasn't even trying to help themselves. And the worst part? I felt guilty about feeling resentful. I told myself I was a bad friend for wanting it to stop. This is the empath trap. We feel other people's pain so intensely that we believe we're responsible for fixing it. We're not. Let me say that again louder for the people in the back. You are not responsible for fixing other people's pain. You can witness it. You can offer support. You can hold space. But you cannot and should not carry it for them. When you try to carry someone else's emotional baggage, one of two things happens. Either you collapse under the weight, or they never learn to carry it themselves. Neither outcome helps anyone. So how do you set boundaries without feeling like a terrible person? First, you need to understand that boundaries aren't walls. They're not about shutting people out or becoming cold and unfeeling. Boundaries are more like the skin on your body. They let good things in, like oxygen and nutrients. They keep bad things out, like bacteria and toxins. And most importantly, they define where you end and someone else begins. Without that definition, you become enmeshed. You lose yourself completely in other people's experiences. Let me give you some practical examples. Boundary number 1. You don't have to answer every call, text, or message immediately. I know this sounds obvious, but for empaths, it's revolutionary. We feel the urgency of other people's needs as if they're our own emergencies. Someone texts you with a problem, and your body responds as if your house is on fire. But here's the thing. Most problems aren't emergencies. Most emotional crises can wait a few hours or even a day. When someone reaches out to you, take a breath. Ask yourself, is this truly urgent, or does it just feel urgent because I'm absorbing their anxiety? Can I respond to this when I'm in a better place mentally and emotionally? Or do I need to let this person know that I'm not available right now? And here's the magic phrase that will change your life. I care about you. and I need some time before I can properly show up for this conversation. Can we talk tomorrow? Notice what that does. It validates the person. It maintains the relationship, but it also protects your energy. You're not saying no forever. You're saying not right now. And if someone gets angry at you for that, if they accuse you of not caring or being a bad friend, that tells you everything you need to know about them. People who respect you will respect your boundaries. People who don't respect your boundaries don't actually respect you. Boundary number 2. You can leave rooms, conversations, and even relationships that drain you. This is huge. Empaths often feel trapped in situations because we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. You're at a party, and the energy is toxic. People are gossiping, complaining, or just radiating negativity. Your body is screaming at you to leave. Your stomach is in knots. Your head is starting to hurt. But you stay because you don't want to seem rude. Stop doing this. Your body is giving you information. Listen to it. You can politely excuse yourself from any situation that's harming you. You don't need an elaborate excuse. You don't need to justify it. A simple "I need to head out now" or "I need some fresh air" works perfectly fine. And yes, this applies to relationships too. I know this is the hard one. But if you have people in your life who consistently drain you, who take and never give back, who dump their emotional garbage on you without ever asking how you're doing, you have permission to create distance. You have permission to end the relationship entirely. I'm not saying you should ghost people or be cruel, but you can have an honest conversation. You can say, "This friendship isn't working for me anymore," or "I need to step back from this relationship for my own well-being." Will it be uncomfortable? Yes. Will some people be hurt or angry? Probably. But your mental health is not a fair trade for someone else's comfort. Boundary number 3. No is a complete sentence. Empaths struggle with this more than almost anything else. Someone asks you to do something. Volunteer for that committee. Help them move. Listen to their problems for the 50th time. Watch their kids. Donate money. Support their business. And your immediate instinct is to say yes because you feel their need, their hope, their expectation. But here's what you need to understand. Every time you say yes when you want to say no, you're lying. You're being dishonest. You're building resentment. And you're teaching people that your boundaries don't matter. Practice saying no without explanation. Just no. Not no because I have this other thing, or no because I'm too busy. Just no, I can't do that. Or no, that doesn't work for me. The more you explain, the more you open yourself up to negotiation, guilt trips, and manipulation. When you state your boundary clearly and don't justify it, you're training people to accept your no at face value. Will some people push back? Absolutely. They'll ask why. They'll try to convince you. They'll make you feel guilty. Hold firm. You don't owe anyone a detailed explanation for protecting your own energy. Now let's talk about the guilt. Because I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but when I actually try to do it, I feel terrible. I feel selfish. I feel like a bad person. Here's why. You've been conditioned your entire life to prioritize other people's feelings over your own. You've been praised for being selfless, accommodating, and available. You've been told that good people sacrifice themselves. That real love means suffering. That if you're not exhausted from helping others, you're not doing enough. This conditioning runs deep. It probably started in childhood. Maybe you had an emotionally needy parent, and you learned early that your job was to manage their feelings. Maybe you were praised for being the easy child, the helpful one, the one who never caused problems. Maybe you learned that love was conditional on how much you could give. Whatever the origin, you need to understand that this guilt is not the truth. It's programming, and you can reprogram yourself. Start by noticing the guilt when it shows up. Don't fight it. Don't shame yourself for feeling it. Just observe it. Oh, there's that guilt again. It's trying to tell me I'm a bad person for having boundaries. Then challenge it. Ask yourself, if my best friend set this same boundary, would I think they were selfish? Would I be angry at them? Or would I respect their decision? Almost always, you'll realize you're holding yourself to a completely different standard than you'd hold anyone else. Here's another powerful reframe. When you set a boundary, you're not being selfish. You're being self-fulfilling. You're making sure your cup is full, so you have something real to offer others. Think about the difference between these two scenarios. In scenario 1, you say yes to everything. You're exhausted, resentful, running on empty. Someone asks for your help, and you give it, but you're irritated the whole time. You're not really present. You're counting the minutes until it's over. The other person can feel your resentment, even if you're trying to hide it. The interaction leaves both of you feeling worse. In scenario 2, you set a boundary. You say no to things that drain you. You protect your energy. You take care of yourself. Then, when someone asks for help, and you genuinely have the capacity, you say yes. You show up fully present, energized, and genuinely caring. You actually enjoy helping them. They feel truly supported. Everyone wins. See the difference? Boundaries don't make you less giving. They make your giving sustainable and authentic. Let's talk about practical daily practices for protecting your energy. These are non-negotiable if you're serious about surviving as an empath. First, create physical space between you and others regularly. This is especially important if you live with other people or work in environments where you're constantly around others. You need time alone to discharge the emotional energy you've absorbed. This isn't antisocial. It's essential maintenance. Even just 20 minutes alone in a room with the door closed can make a massive difference. Second, develop a grounding practice. When you're absorbing everyone else's emotions, you lose connection to your own body and your own feelings. Grounding brings you back. This can be as simple as feeling your feet on the floor, taking 5 deep breaths, or going outside and touching a tree. Some empaths find it helpful to visualize roots growing from their feet into the earth, anchoring them. Others prefer physical activity like walking or yoga. Find what works for you and do it daily, not just when you're overwhelmed. Third, create energetic boundaries. I know this might sound woo-woo to some people, but it works. Before you go into a challenging situation, take a moment to visualize a protective boundary around yourself. Some people imagine a bubble of light. Others picture a shield or a cloak. The specific image doesn't matter. What matters is the intention. You're telling your subconscious mind, I am separate from other people's energy. I can be compassionate without absorbing their pain. This simple practice can dramatically reduce how much emotional garbage you pick up from others. Fourth, learn to differentiate between your emotions and someone else's. This is a game changer. When you feel a sudden wave of anxiety, sadness, or anger, pause and ask yourself, is this mine? Did something just happen to trigger this feeling, or did it come out of nowhere? If it came out of nowhere, there's a good chance you're picking up on someone else's emotional state. Once you identify it as not yours, you can consciously release it. Some empaths find it helpful to literally say out loud or in their mind, this isn't mine. I release it. Others imagine the emotion as a color or texture leaving their body. Again, find what works for you. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. What about the people who won't respect your boundaries? Because they exist, and you need to be prepared. Some people in your life have benefited from your lack of boundaries. They've gotten used to having unlimited access to your time, energy, and emotional labor. When you start setting boundaries, they're going to resist. They'll call you selfish. They'll accuse you of changing or not caring anymore. They'll test your limits to see if you're serious. They'll try to guilt you back into your old patterns. This is called an extinction burst, and it's completely predictable. When a behavior that used to work suddenly stops working, people will escalate before they give up. Here's how you handle it. First, expect it. Don't be surprised or devastated when people push back. It's normal. Second, stay consistent. If you set a boundary and then cave the first time someone challenges it, you've just taught them that your boundaries are negotiable. They'll keep pushing. But if you hold firm, most people will eventually accept the new normal. Third, be willing to let some relationships end. This is the hardest part, but it's crucial. Not everyone in your life will make the transition to the boundaried version of you. Some people were only in a relationship with you because of what they could take from you. When you stop allowing that dynamic, the relationship will naturally fall away. This is painful, but it's also information. It shows you who was really there for you versus who was just using you. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah was an empath who came to me completely burnt out. She worked as a therapist, which is common for empaths. We're drawn to helping professions. But Sarah had no boundaries between work and her personal life. Clients would text her at all hours. She would worry about them constantly. She would give free sessions to people who couldn't pay. She would extend sessions that were supposed to be 50 minutes into 2 hours. And at home, she had a sister who was in a perpetual crisis. Abusive relationships, job problems, financial disasters. Sarah was her sister's unpaid therapist, financial support, and emotional dumping ground. When Sarah came to see me, she was having panic attacks, couldn't sleep, and was seriously considering quitting her career because she couldn't take it anymore. We started with the basics. She turned off notifications from clients outside of business hours. She enforced her session times. She stopped giving free therapy. And with her sister, she set the hardest boundary of all. She said, "I love you, but I can't be your therapist anymore. I'll support you in finding professional help, but I need to step back from this role." Her sister lost it, called her selfish, said Sarah was abandoning her, didn't speak to her for 3 months. Sarah felt terrible. She questioned whether she'd made the right choice. But you know what happened? Her panic attacks stopped. She started sleeping again. She actually enjoyed her work again because she wasn't constantly drained. And after 3 months, her sister reached out, apologized, and their relationship actually became healthier because it wasn't built on codependency anymore. That's the thing about boundaries. They're uncomfortable in the short term, but life-saving in the long term. Here's another critical piece. You need to fill your life with people and activities that energize you, not just eliminate the things that drain you. Empaths need positive inputs. We need beauty, nature, art, music, and meaningful connections. If all you do is set boundaries, but don't also nourish yourself, you'll still end up depleted. What lights you up? What makes you feel alive and connected to yourself? For some empaths, it's spending time in nature. For others, it's creative expression through art, writing, or music. Some empaths need deep one-on-one conversations with trusted friends. Others need solo time with books or movies or podcasts. There's no right answer, but you need to figure out your answer and prioritize it. I also want to talk about professional boundaries because this is where many empaths struggle enormously. If you work in healthcare, education, social work, therapy, or any other helping profession, you're at high risk for compassion fatigue and burnout. You need extremely clear boundaries between work and personal life. This means not taking work home with you, mentally or physically. This means having a ritual that marks the end of your workday, something that signals to your nervous system, "We're done absorbing other people's pain for today." This might be a specific playlist you listen to on your drive home, a workout, a shower where you visualize washing off the day's energy. Whatever it is, make it consistent. And please get your own support. Empaths need therapists, coaches, or at least trusted friends who can hold space for us. We're so busy holding space for everyone else that we often neglect our own emotional needs. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't process other people's emotions all day without having someone to help you process your own. This isn't a weakness. It's wisdom. Let's also talk about social media because it's a minefield for empaths. You're scrolling through your feed, and suddenly you're absorbing the grief of someone's loss, the rage of political posts, the anxiety of pandemic updates, the comparison trap of everyone's highlight reel. It's too much. Your nervous system wasn't designed to hold the emotional weight of thousands of people. You need strict boundaries here. Limit your time on social media. Unfollow or mute accounts that consistently trigger or drain you. It doesn't matter if it's family. It doesn't matter if it's a good cause. If it's harming your mental health, you have permission to remove it from your feed. Some empaths do best with scheduled social media time. 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night, and that's it. Others find they need to delete the apps entirely and only check from a computer once a day. Figure out what works for you and stick to it. Remember, you don't owe your attention to anyone online. Another huge topic is saying yes to things you actually want. This might sound backward, but empaths often struggle to identify what they truly want because we're so tuned into what everyone else wants. We've spent our whole lives reading the room, adjusting ourselves to make others comfortable, and prioritizing other people's preferences. So when someone asks what movie you want to see or where you want to eat, you might genuinely not know. You've lost touch with your own desires. This is why boundaries are so important. When you create space from other people's needs and emotions, you finally have room to hear your own inner voice. You start to notice what you actually enjoy, what energizes you, what feels aligned. And then you can start saying yes to those things. Not because someone asked you to, not because you feel obligated, but because you genuinely want to. This is where life starts to feel good again. This is where being an empath shifts from a curse to something you can actually work with. Before we wrap up, I want to address one more thing. Some of you are thinking, but what if I'm just making excuses? What if I'm actually just being selfish and I'm calling it boundaries? Here's how you know the difference. Selfishness is only considering yourself and disregarding others. Boundaries are considering yourself while still respecting others. Selfishness is I don't care about your feelings at all. Boundaries are that I care about your feelings and I also care about mine. Selfishness is manipulative and exploitative. Boundaries are honest and protective. If you're worried about being selfish, you're probably not. Truly selfish people don't worry about that. The fact that you're concerned shows you still care about others. You just need to extend that same care to yourself. So here's what I want you to do. Think about one boundary you need to set this week. Just one. Maybe it's not answering texts after 9 p.m. Maybe it's telling someone you need space. Maybe it's saying no to an obligation you've been dreading. Pick one boundary and commit to it. Notice what comes up when you enforce it. Notice the guilt, the fear, the discomfort. And also notice how it feels to honor yourself. Notice the relief, the sense of control, the reclaiming of your own energy and life. That feeling, that's what you deserve to feel all the time. You are not here to be an emotional dumping ground for the world. You are not here to sacrifice yourself until there's nothing left. You are here to live your own life, to experience your own joy, and to share your gifts from a place of fullness, not depletion. What's one boundary you're going to set this week? Drop it in the comments below. I want to hear from you. And if you're struggling with this, if you need support, let me know. We're in this together. Remember this. Protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's sacred. Your sensitivity is a gift, but only if you're alive and well enough to share it. Set the boundaries. Feel the guilt. Do it anyway. Because on the other side of that discomfort is a life where you're not just surviving anymore. You're actually thriving. And the world needs empaths who are thriving, not empaths who are collapsing under the weight of everyone else's pain. You matter. Your energy matters. Your well-being matters. Don't ever forget that. If this resonated with you, hit that like button right now. And if you want more content on protecting your energy and thriving as an empath, subscribe to this channel. I'll see you in the next one.